over, which is the woo strength. And I thought about how do I want to design this job so that every day I wake up and I'm excited to go to work because I'm doing the things that come naturally to me and I get energized by them. Like when I'm on a job, I think about them. I think about y'all and I think about like, what can we do in the ambassador meeting? And these were the things that I carved into the role that I have.
And we're more than just where we work as well. So you have hobbies and interests in life. I don't at this point. I can barely do numbers.
I was the one that got us off on that. He was just following my lead.
Much less hobbies. So, but you got to think about your hobbies too. If you're using your strengths in your hobbies, you're really building that awesome life for you. And back when I did have hobbies, I did a lot of sports things. And I ran marathons. I've run 8 marathons. Played rugby for the city of Portland. And if you look at my strengths, it feeds right into achieve your competition input. I can tell you how to tie your shoes so it will not. You can run a marathon and won't untie because it's perfectly balanced. So that was my input. I had to read and read and read about marathons. Like when I see people running down the street, I'm like their ankles are way off. So
that is so Ben. I just want you to keep that in mind when you give your critique on your lunch. Just keep in mind he critiques how they tie their shoes.
Yeah.
There's a right way to do it.
But he's right. I mean, he's right.
Yeah, but so if you can weave it into your hobbies as well as where you work, life is good.
It's like the whole you. It's not when we leave work we change and put this other hat on and we're a different person. And I also think that it happens really early in life. Like we were talking about this myth that your strengths change as you get older. But actually, like if you were a neat freak when you were 10, you will probably be a neat freak when you're 40. And if you were an idea person when you were 20, you'll be an idea person when you're 50. So I had this realization when I was thinking about when I was 10. And I was that communicator. So we'd be sitting around, playing a board game, and we'd all be trying to understand the rules, and I would be trying to explain them, and people would shh, let Marcy explain it. I went, oh, communicator, that works. And then every one of my journals from age 13 on, you talked about competition with the marathons. I have competition really close in my top 5. Last time I took it, it was in my top 5, and I think this time it might have been number 6. I would write down played Battleship with Tees and Kyle. I won. And I'm literally telling you every weekend in my journal I was recording the wins and losses, and that's kind of a double-edged sword sometimes in competition with us.
Yes, absolutely. And interesting story with communication. So I'm not that great at communicating. I don't know if you know this or not. But it's just not something I really grew up with. My family's very private. We didn't talk about a lot of different topics. Now my partner's family, I know how much her parents make because they talk about it all the time. Medical issues, everything is on the table. I don't know any of that stuff about my parents because it's just we have a weird communication dynamic. So I don't think I'm ever going to be that great at it. I certainly put some effort into it, but it is what it is. I try to focus on my strengths. So.
Yeah, trying to work on maximizing your strengths and realizing that, well, with every strength there's a different side to it. And I think Courtney gave that example today when she was saying kind of what we need to work on. So with the competition one, I have to realize that when I'm playing soccer, this last weekend I had celebrated the Tatas in memory of my mom who passed away 16 years ago this month. And we raised a ton of money for breast cancer research, and I was playing with my 22-year-old daughter and all their friends, and I was like, I'm not able to be the best player on the team anymore, but that's okay. I can still go out and compete. And you're better at that than me at you versus you versus other people. But I think sometimes people can perceive the competition in a different way than we do.
Yeah, so I once took second place in the Hercules division, which means the people that weigh more than 200 pounds that run marathons, because there's not that many of them. But I beat myself up. I took second place is first in a long line of losers. So I just beat myself up about it. But the years have passed, and I've gotten to a place where competition is rooted in comparison. So you're always comparing, and I'll always do that. But now I I try to set a standard for myself ahead of time and compare myself to myself rather than other people. But as a double-edged sword, you'll hear me say things like the best, you can do better. I might use myself as an example a lot. So as that double-edged sword, it might come through that I'm self-interested, or I'm selfish. Like, why is he always talking about himself? Why is he always comparing me to himself? So there's a good and a bad side to it, and you have to learn how to manage that. And 10 years ago, competition ruled my life, and I was a very different person. But I learned to deal with it and address it.
Yeah, we evolve. And I think with my communication coming across strong in my personality, I've heard from some people that is intimidating. And I would get my course evaluations, and there'd be like 90 students that said, oh my gosh, she was energetic, and I learned so much, best professor I ever had. And then one person was like, she was arrogant. And I went, oh my gosh. And I sat there and just obsessed about the negative side of it. But I realized that sometimes coming across really confident, the other side of that coin can be arrogance or intimidation. So it's good to look at your strengths and see how they're perceived, but also not to squelch them, to be comfortable in your own skin. I think we both share activator, and that's one that sometimes bites us in the butt.
I have a great example. I don't know if you...
Go for it.
So first, how activator can be good, and this is true for Marcy. Do you explain activator? I was going to.
Oh.
If you're ready.
I'm ready.
So Marcy and I both have activator, which allows us to turn thoughts into action. We jump on stuff, we make things happen. I think Marcy's, the negative side of that for Marcy is a little bit different than me, but similar still. Mine being that I jump into things maybe not fully preparing myself or having a finished product. One that I think you might all be familiar with. I knew that how we collected feedback from launches and workshops needed to change. So came up with this Qualtrics thing, rolled it out. It's been a little rocky, and you've all observed that. Someone that maybe was a little bit more thorough. Let's see, if I had intellection maybe, or strategic, or well, either of those, I might have pushed out a finished product instead of pushing out something that was half finished. I got it started, I got it going, that's great, but I think it could have been. It could have gone a little bit better. So that's what I have to pay attention to and be aware of with my activator skill. I'm not going to jump into this and do it at 50, 60, 70%. Is that okay to do it at that percentage and improve it over time? But I'm aware of that, so I'm able to deal with it.
Yeah, I think we're both sometimes guilty of having this great idea and thinking that everyone else is going to love it. And that doesn't always happen. I don't think you all got super excited about putting that URL up at the end of your presentation. And we're empowered to want to make that happen. So full self-disclosure, when I came into this new role, I was in a brand new team, and I had all this energy, all the combinations of my top 5 strengths, and I came into the staff meeting with this great idea, and I said it to everyone, and I was like, they're going to jump on board and love this. I've been nationally recognized with this idea. I've spoken about it around the country. Well, guess what? There was crickets in the room. And everybody stared at me, and no one loved the idea. So I learned a lot from that mistake, that even though I've got these strengths, I need to be very aware of the people that surround me and how to temper it. And I think partly what we're doing today is just sharing with you like how we've built it into success. We also want to celebrate how diverse you all are and how you can build a life like this too, so that when you go into the world after you leave your student identity and become all those wonderful things you just talked about in the circle, that you will be able to go to bed with this great tired that I have every night. Like, I'm exhausted and I lay down and I go, this was such a good day because I brought me to the table.
I didn't sleep last night, but tonight, tonight I'm gonna have those feelings. That's right.
Okay, that's it.
You got it, man.
Done. Thank you for videotaping.